Hello again, William. I'd like to outdoors, and today I'd like to make another attempt at giving you an encouraging word straight out of the scriptures. There's a story in the book of 1 Samuel in the Old Testament that is about a couple of guys, pretty well known in the household of faith, I put, but a lot of people know about the story about Jonathan and David. Today's word is going to be on loyalty. And loyalty is the bonding of individuals in a long-term commitment of sacrificial support and defense. And like I said, in the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 20, where I'm going to be coming out of. Yeah, I'd say most part of it is going to be in chapter 20. David had been involved in the house of Saul for quite a while. He'd played his harp for Saul when the evil spirits would torment him. He had went and not really joined the army, but he went and killed Goliath during this time, and Saul made a promise that whoever killed that Philistine would wed his daughter. So David became Saul's son-in-law and Jonathan's brother-in-law. So him and Jonathan, David and Jonathan, developed a friendship, and during this time, Saul had set his mind on killing David because he found out that Samuel the prophet had anointed David to become the next king because God had rejected Saul. Well, there was a festival coming up, the New Moon Festival, and David had always ate at the king's house during this festival. David wasn't going to go because they said Saul had already attempted to kill him. So him and Jonathan went out into a field so they could have some time alone and talk. And they made a pact with one another. Chapter 20, verse 16 says, So Jonathan made a solemn pact with David, saying, May the Lord destroy all your enemies. And Jonathan made David reaffirm his vow of friendship again, for Jonathan loved David as he loved himself. So when the next day came, Jonathan was supposed to tell David how Saul felt about him, what his intentions were. Well, Saul had told Jonathan that, because he even threw a spear at Jonathan when he said that he wanted David there, but Saul told Jonathan that he was going to kill David. So Jonathan took a young guy out with him the next morning, and they went out. He was going to be retrieving the arrows as Jonathan was shooting arrows out in this field. And he was really going out there to meet with David to let him know about what was going on. So after Jonathan sent the young guy back to town with his bow and his arrows, David came out to meet with him, and he told him what Saul's plans were. So then, when they were parting their ways, Jonathan said to David, Go in peace, for we have sworn loyalty to each other in the Lord's name. The Lord is the witness of a bond between us and our children forever. Then David left, and Jonathan returned to the town. Now, here's where David's loyalty. See, he said it was between them and their children forever. Well, when David became king, he made sure that his promise to Jonathan was upheld. He had his men search the country for a survivor of Jonathan's family, and he found Jonathan's son and made sure that he was provided for because he moved him into his own house and treated him like his own. So that is loyalty. We don't see much of that today, and that's why this word came up, is because uh, loyalty is a rarity. Some people might say that they're going to be loyal to you, but then they go back on their promises, and it's just people have one excuse or another to not keep their promises. And this passage that I just went over in 1 Samuel chapter 20 shows that these two men made a promise to one another in the sight of God, and they made sure, David did, after Jonathan's death and after Saul's death, when David took over as king, he made sure that his promise was upheld. So again, I just wanted to make another attempt at encouraging you to get into the scriptures, read for yourself what has gone on, and how through following the scriptures you can learn how to live a better and fuller life in your time here on earth. So join me again next time for another Word on Wednesday.